Hey everyone, welcome to the second edition of Self-Care Sunday with me, Katie Plus. Thanks for joining me again this week. This week, we're going to be talking about self-care and social media. So if you kind of remember to last week, I talked a lot about the self-care pyramid and the different layers of self-care, and social media fell at the tippy top of that. And I think that's that's a term that we don't typically associate with self-care, and so I wanted to touch on it and go a little bit deeper about what could self-care possibly mean when it comes to social media. So I have 5 tips for you that you may have heard before, but really to think about intentionally when caring for yourself. This is something that you could even incorporate into your 30-day self-care challenge. So, tip number 1, detoxing from social media. So it's really important to take some time away from social media, especially when it's really draining on your energy. So if you're noticing in yourself that every time you log onto Facebook or every time you log onto Instagram, you're just really feeling drained or frustrated or down about it, that perhaps taking some time away from social media is just what you need right now. So in order to detox from social media, I recommend 2 things. The first thing is set a time limit for how long you're going to detox. And this could be literally what you make it. So someone like me that is on social media a lot, I do little shorter bursts of detox. So I'll do a few hours or a day where I stay away from my phone or stay away from a specific app like Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook. What I've had a lot of friends do as well that have just ranted and raved about doing is actually physically deleting the app from your phone. I have had friends that have deleted the Facebook app off their phone for months at a time, and they honestly don't feel like they're missing much. They still have social interactions with friends. They are able to spend that time that they spend on social media doing so many other things. So I really recommend that if you're feeling frustrated or drained by what you're seeing on social media, take a detox, take some time, whether it's a few hours, a few days, a week, or more. Make it what you need it to be. Tip number 2. So you're on social media, you're on Facebook, and you scroll by your uncle that just ranted on and on about politics on Facebook, and you do not agree with his views. So you have a choice in that moment. Do you speak up or do you scroll by? And I'm going to give you a couple tips of questions to ask yourself of when you're deciding to speak up or to scroll by. So 3 questions to ask yourself. 1, is my response going to be helpful or hurtful? Do you really want to hurt Uncle Bob's feelings? Or are you just looking for an argument? Or do you really feel like you have an opportunity to educate Uncle Bob about whatever the topic is that he's talking about? Second question, is this person open to constructive feedback? I will say the vast majority of individuals that are posting really long rants and statuses on social media are not particularly open to constructive feedback. They are usually either looking for people to agree with them or they're looking for an argument. So really asking yourself intentionally, is this person open or should I just scroll by? The third question to ask yourself is, am I feeling in control right now? It's very likely that whatever that person posted is striking some type of emotional chord within you. It could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be shock. So really coming into check with, how am I feeling in this moment? Do I feel like I'm in control enough to type out a well thought out post? And if the answer is no, scroll by. If the answer is yes to all of those questions, that your response is helpful, this person is open to constructive feedback, and you're feeling in control, by all means, go ahead and post your thoughts. Tip number 3, responding to internet trolls. So for those of you who don't know what an internet troll is, it's essentially someone that likes to post things that make people angry or make people upset. So not the best. So how do you respond to trolls? What if you posted a status that you had no intention of having any negative feedback from, but a troll comments something just really rude or hateful? You can respond. You can ask yourself the same questions. Decide when to speak up or when to scroll by. You can delete that person's comment. You can block them. But there are some instances that I think it's really validating to speak up, and I think that we typically just give the advice of like, just ignore it. But sometimes ignoring it isn't validating how you're feeling, and really having the opportunity to confront that person in a constructive manner can really be healing and helpful to you being able to scroll by in the future. So, some statements that you could make to an internet troll. What do you mean by that? And just kind of taking on more of a questioning tone instead of a attacking or combative tone can really set you up to have a more thoughtful conversation and that person not feeling as attacked. Another phrase that you could say is, when you say blank, it sounds to me like you're saying blank. Really get to the bottom of what this person's intention is in commenting or posting. Another phrase that you could say is blank what I'm hearing you say? Or, when you say this, it makes me feel like blank. And I think really being able to state how you feel and state what you're reading into when it comes to a comment can give that person an opportunity to clear it up or to validate and confirm what you were thinking. So it just opens you up to have a more productive conversation versus just a back and forth down the comment thread. Tip number 4. Cleansing your friends list. We all could benefit from a Facebook friend cleanse. Most of us have been on Facebook for 10 years or even more, and really being able to go through and delete friends that just drain your energy can really make social media a less toxic place to be. So this could be one of your self-care activities for the 30-day challenge, is going through and cleansing your friends list. I have had Facebook since 2007, and so I have Facebook friends that I don't necessarily have contact with anymore, that don't necessarily align with my life values. So every once in a while, I make the intentional time to go ahead and delete and cleanse my friends list so that my social media can look like a more positive place to be, a place I like to spend time on. Because let's face it, we spend a lot of time on social media. This goes for Instagram too. So if you are noticing that your Instagram is full of junk, this is a time to cleanse your followers. Which leads me into my next and my final tip. Tip number 5 really goes for Instagram, Facebook too, but really Instagram. Follow the right accounts. Instagram is like this magical, beautiful place full of presets and filters and highlight reels of people's lives. Wonderful, right? Except when it drains your energy, except when it makes you feel inadequate because you're seeing all these people living their best lives and you're not seeing any of the real stuff that's happening behind the scenes. You may see this super happy couple that is always posting together, but behind the scenes they fight all the time. And you would never know that from social media. So that's just one example of a million of examples that I'm sure you can think of how social media just isn't always real. So follow the right accounts. Follow accounts that have a good balance of positivity and realness so that you can feel uplifted, inspired, empowered, but also understand that you're not alone in your struggles. So I have a couple of recommendations for some accounts that you can follow. One is the one that I referenced last week when we were talking about our layers of self-care, and that is Sit With Wit, and her handle is right here. The next one is Self-Care is for Everyone. They post so many cute little pictures and inspirational quotes and different things. And they also have a really cute line of clothing that you can order with some of their mantras and things right on their sweatshirts and t-shirts. And the third one is the Self-Love Fix. So the Self-Love Fix often posts kind of similar to the Self-Care is for Everyone, lots of inspirational tips and tricks in improving your self-esteem and self-worth and engaging in self-care. So there's so many more accounts like this out there. And as soon as you start following a few, you get recommendations to follow more. And before you know it, your Instagram feed is going to be this beautiful, magnificent place of not just toxic positivity, but true, raw, genuine people that are going through the human experience with you. So let's review our 5 tips for navigating self-care within social media. Tip number 1, taking a detox from social media. If you're logging on to social media and you're just feeling really drained or frustrated or irritable when you're on there, it's time for a detox. Delete the apps off your phone for an hour, a day, a week, and take that time away. Tip number 2, deciding when to speak up or to scroll by. Asking yourself these questions. Is my response helpful or hurtful? Does this person seem open to constructive feedback? And am I in control right now? Tip number 3, responding to trolls by asking questions that clarify what their response or post meant. So, what do you mean by that? When you say blank, it sounds to me like you're saying blank. Or when you say blank, it makes me feel like blank. Tip number 4, cleansing your friends list. If you're feeling like your newsfeed is bogged down by toxic negativity and people that are no longer in your life, it's definitely time for a cleanse. Go ahead and delete some old friends that you don't necessarily associate with anymore. And tip number 5, follow the right accounts on Instagram. I recommended 3, Sit with Wit, Self-Care is for Everyone, and the Self-Love Fix, but there are so many more out there that are going to empower and inspire you to incorporate self-care into your life. And that is our 5 tips for self-care in social media. Don't forget that our self-care 30-day challenge starts tomorrow. So I told you guys last week that I would share what was on my self-care calendar. So everything is on my phone, and my electronic calendar. I'm totally paperless, and that just makes me feel better than having a bunch of stuff everywhere. So anyway, some ideas that I have on my list are I am doing exercise on my Peloton, I'm going for walks, I'm taking time to play and snuggle with my cats. I am spending time with friends and family, doing face masks, getting my nails done, doing journaling, doing self-reflection, and setting boundaries are all on my list for this month to get started with my self-care challenge. So I hope that your list is just as full, with chock full of lots of fun ideas to get you started on incorporating self-care into your daily life. Should you want to be in for our challenge, go ahead and share this video onto your Facebook or through YouTube, and you will be entered in to win a free t-shirt. So let's take a look at what the designs are going to look like, and you'll be able to pick between one of the two. So there's a female version and a male version, but you can pick either one that just you like better and what your preference is. So this is the female version. As you can say on there, it says fill your cup. So this is one of the t-shirts that you can win if you enter into our self-care 30-day challenge. Here is our other t-shirt that you can potentially win. It also says fill your cup, and it has the Galvin Growth Group logo on it. So depending on which t-shirt you want, you will have the option if you enter into our self-care challenge. So that's all for me this week. I hope you're excited about getting started on your 30-day challenge and hopefully winning a free t-shirt out of it by sharing our video on either Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. So I'm really excited to be going on this journey with you. I told you I was right here shoulder to shoulder with you, and I sure am, and I'm super excited. I will see you guys here next week.